Good morning, everyone. My name is Julio Tesolin. I'm a doctoral student at the Instituto Militar de Engenharia, and I will present our work entitled Critical Communication Scenarios Descriptions based on ontological analysis. Our research motivation is the critical communication systems, and communication systems can be represented in many ways, including how critical is the situation in the context where they are being used. A situation is said to be critical when human life, their properties, and the environment are threatened by natural events or events man-made. They are usually handled by public safety entities such as police, EMS, fire departments, or by the military forces. With the constant communications evolution, the elements of critical communication systems are also undergoing a transformation from being reactive to proactive, showing self-adjustment and decision-making behavior. So they are beginning to show a certain type of cognition. However, modeling such an environment requires an extraordinary effort, especially when dealing with critical situations. It seems that this is a good scenario for applying ontological analysis. But why use an ontological analysis instead of traditional, using UML, BPMN, or ER constructs? According to Verdonik's empirical study, there are substantial benefits when using ontological analysis in larger and more complex systems. However, to carry out such analysis, we need a good basis. Foundation ontologies can provide a set of basic principles and categories that are independent of any discourse domain. Among foundation ontologies, Unified Foundation Ontology, or UFO, has become one of the most representative, being used successfully in several domains. UFO incorporates ideas from several other foundation ontologies, such as GFO, Dolce, and Ontoclean. It can be subdivided into fragments that represent different scopes. We have UFO-A as the ontology of endurance, UFO-B as the ontology of perdurance, and UFO-C as the ontology of social and intentional entities. Our work focused mainly on UFO-A and UFO-B, where constructs such as situation, objects, tropes, events, and dispositions were explored. This diagram shows the basic analysis structure that were used to describe the relationships between UFO-A and UFO-B. Our example is a military communication scenario in a law and order operation. The objective in this scenario is to reduce the enemy's interception of the security forces' messages as well as the blocking of their communication. In this scenario, we have four main actors. The CRMU-1, which is a military cognitive radio capable of modifying its behavior whenever it perceives any relevant change, either in the communication environment or in the security policy determined by the Command and Control Center. The TX-COP1 is a radio-based station which constantly transmits information from security forces. An enemy RD1, which is an enemy radio capable of receiving information transmitted by the radio-based station, and CMDC2 Army 1, who is the head of the Command and Control Center, and he is able to modify the security level of security force communications at any time. In this diagram, there is a complex event called military communication wave, which is composed by five sub-events. Each of these events can change the characteristics of the participating objects, causing new situations in different time segments. In addition, each disposition is activated by a situation response to changes in some inherent quality of a participating object, satisfying a certain proposition. The initial event is called transmitting C, which indicates the transmission of the security forces base station. This causes a new situation called TX situation 1, which comprises the current status not only of the TX-COP1 transmitter, but also of the enemy radio receiver enemy RD1 and the military cognitive radio CRRM1. Both radios are able to perceive the signals being transmitted. According to the proposition regarding to the radio's dynamic range, here in blue, the signal perception disposition is activated and manifested by the complex event receiving C. At a subsequent point in time, the head of the command and control center changed the security level of the operation, represented by the SL update in C2 event. As a consequence, the event caused the situation 1 presented the current signal to noise ratio measured on both radios and the new security level on the CRMU1 radio called SL. Once SL satisfies a particular proposition, here in blue, the noise generation 1 disposition is activated and manifested by the noise innate event. This event causes an increase in the noise level of the communications environment as a defense measure to block enemy communications. As a consequence, it causes a new situation where the environment noise level is raised to 6 dB. Thus, the situation secure situation 2 represents the new state of the communications environment, which now has a noise level capable to block the enemy's communications. So, as we can see from the previous analysis, the use of an ontological approach for conceptual modeling seems to be more complete and accurate compared to traditional conceptual modeling in this context. In addition, the UFO model was able to express at once how and when internal and external information can support the communication nodes cognition, highlight events, here in orange, and causal relationships, here in green. We conclude that ontological analysis in a critical communication scenario can represent behavioral knowledge, anticipate the critical situations and specific conditions prior to decision-making. We envision that the constructs of UFO-C and KIPO, such as normative descriptions and rules, can be used in a deeper analysis of complex situations. Also, we envision the modeling of critical communications ontology that can facilitate the modeling of scenarios such as the one presented in this article.